So you finally did it. You took the plunge. You took the leap. You jumped off the cliff. You are now an entrepreneur, self-employed, responsible for your own income. Maybe you're a life coach. Maybe you're network marketing. I don't know. 90% of our audience of the Daily Dose is doing one of those kind of things. So what? What does that mean now? Here's what it means. It means that if you want to be successful, really successful, you can be moderately successful. You can get by without doing what I'm talking about. So if that's your goal, then go back to watching videos on Facebook, right? But if you want to be successful on a larger level, then you're going to have to do a couple of things. Number one, you're going to have to recognize, and I'm sure you already do, that no one's going to be responsible for sending you a paycheck at the end of every 2 weeks, right? You're going to have to create that on your own. You're going to have to generate that on your own. You're going to have to do the actions necessary to bring into fruition money into your life, right? And to do that now, you're going to need to set goals. Okay, you need to become good at setting goals. You're going to have to become good at putting down on paper what you want to accomplish and in what kind of time frame you want to accomplish it, and then break it down into what are you going to have to do to get that done. If you're unwilling, unable, or just frankly don't believe in doing that, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be severely limited. Okay? So your goals now have to have three components. Number one, they've got to be very clearly defined. They've got to be specific. You've got to know what you want, right? Your subconscious mind is like a GPS. Okay? If you go to your car, you put into the GPS, you want to go to 2345 Hidden Trail, San Diego, California, da-da-da-da-da. Your car, your GPS will calculate the route and how long it will take you there and where you need to turn and what you need to do, and it will show you exactly where you need to go. But what if you put into the GPS somewhere else? Return. What's the GPS going to show you? What if you just put it in the GPS north, right? or east, right? What's the GPS going to show you? It could show you anything. You could wind up almost anywhere. And it wouldn't matter anyway because you didn't know where you were going. And that's what happens to a lot of people is they get, decide they want to become entrepreneurs, start taking responsibility for their own income, all this kind of stuff, but they don't really have a clearly defined vision of what it is they want. And so as a result, their internal GPS can't build the map for them because they don't know where they're going. So you've got to be crystal clear about where you're going and what it is you want. Number one is you've got to be clearly defined in your goals. Number two, they've got to be measurable. They got to be measurable. They got to be tangible. Look, you can't say, I want to make more money. What does that mean? I want to make X amount of dollars in X amount of time or on a regularly recurring basis in such and such a manner. You've got to be specific, but it's also got to be measurable. You've got to know what success looks like. You got to know when you've arrived, right? You can say, I want to make more money, but gosh, $5 a month is more money, but that's not what you mean, is it? No, you mean an extra 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 or 20,000 or 50,000 a month or 250,000 a year or whatever your goal is. It must be measurable, and it's got to be able to be broken down into very specific actions that you take, that you can measure, that you can hold yourself accountable to. Am I doing X, Y, and Z activities every day that are taking me closer to this goal? There's an old story that says that a young man stopped an older gentleman on the street who was rumored to be Socrates and said, "Sir, how do I get to Mount Olympus?" And the old man said, "If you really want to get to Mount Olympus, just make sure that every step you take is in that direction." Make sense? So you got to be measurable so that every step you take are deliberate steps on purpose to take you where you want to go. And then the last thing, so it's got to be specific, it's got to be clearly defined, it's got to be measurable, and lastly, it's got to be realistic. Right? Now, I've heard some speakers talk about, you set for yourself big, hairy, audacious goals. The only limitation to the things you can accomplish is what you can imagine. And you know what? There's truth in that. Look, I'm a believer. You can turn your life from zero to hero like that, okay? But if you don't believe that you can, if you don't truly believe that it's possible, you won't even try. I've given this example any number of times, right? If I told you, hey, if you run around the block, I'll give you $100. Almost everybody would strap their shoes on and go run around the block and come back and go, give me my $100, dummy, right? But what if I said, if you run, 10 miles without stopping, I'll give you $100,000. Some people would go, no problem, strap the shoes on and go, right? But some people wouldn't. Some people would just go, yeah, all right, well, thanks anyway. Because they don't believe that they can. They don't believe that's an achievable goal. And so as a result, it doesn't matter what the reward is. It could be $1 million, it could be $20 million, it could be $50 million. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't even try. They wouldn't even try. That's a key phrase, because they don't believe it's possible. So if the goals you're setting for yourself are so big and so outside of what you've been able to do thus far in your life, what will happen is subconsciously your brain will just go, yeah, that's a great goal, but it's not achievable. So I'm not really going to put all that much effort into it, because what's the point? You have that psychological break where you go, what's the point, right? So your goals have to be specific. They've got to be measurable. And they've got to be achievable, so that inside here, right, you can say, you know what? I can do that. I can really do it. And if it's specific and it's measurable, then your mind will map out a plan to get there, and you'll begin to see the pathway forward, and your belief level will elevate, and you'll begin to recognize, hey, I can do this. So you set smaller, not smaller, they don't have to be small. They just have to be realistic. You set realistic, achievable goals that you can pursue. And when you accomplish one, your confidence will go up, your belief will go up, and then you can set larger and larger and larger and larger goals, and you can begin to get everything that you want. And that big, hairy, unbelievably audacious, unachievable goal that you weren't likely to set in the beginning will one day become the goal you set and achieve, because you did it the right way. Time to get started. That's the dose. Have a great week, guys.